Okay, the job that we're working on is removing the lower wishbone so that we can do the bushes at the back. I've undone the 2 bolts at the back and I've undone this nut at the front, but I need to get this ball joint apart, and just hammering it through from this end generally damages the nut or the threads or both. So it's new tool time. Ball joint separator. Nice. Hopefully this is going to make this job an absolute breeze. This hooks around the top of the ball joint and this pushes the shaft through. That's the idea. We'll see what eBay's finest can do for us. Excuse me. Don't fit. So this piece doesn't seem to be wide enough to go around what we're dealing with, so it might need some modification. Alright, there's the modified version of the fork. Hopefully that gives us a lot more room to actually get around the ball joint. Well, that's quite satisfying because it worked. So now we should be able to just pop this ball joint out. No drama. Oh, it feels like it should be coming out, but it's not. I kind of thought it would pop and then all come out. I don't know what we're doing here. We're just putting loads of... What's happening? The bolt's tightening up, but I don't know what's flexing. Let's back out and see what we've just done. Yeah? Nothing is seized in there. So why didn't it move? How was this possible? If the tool isn't bending, it's actuating fine. So why doesn't this just pop out? How frightening. We'll go for a slightly different setup on the tool. See if that helps us at all. The pin won't go in. That seems like an interesting development. That might suggest it was the pin that was bending. Yeah, okay. Who would have thought that this maybe wasn't the most... well, not the highest quality tool. Well, obviously it happened when I wasn't filming, but the ball joint eventually went. I decided that I would just keep cranking on this tool until either it broke or that went, because I didn't have a great deal to lose, and it just went bang and is now out, so success. There we go. Easy peasy. I'll show you more back in the garage. Now we have the lower wishbone out of the car. We've got access to the 3 bushes that need changing on, so they're all steel sleeved, I believe. At this point I'm beginning to think that there's probably some significance to when you put a bushing in an aluminium component, you have to steel sleeve it. But I haven't figured out exactly why that would be. But we're going to fit the new ones. So the front shock mount bush, front lower arm rear bush is this one, the front lower arm front bush. Bosh. Easy. So I think it's going to be the same kind of process of melting out the rubber to push out the center, and then cutting through with our good friend the reciprocating saw and pulling them out just as normal. Mamma mia. I don't know where we got up to with things I was filming, but this is where we are now. I spent ages melting out all the steel cores of these bushings, so we're going to have to just cut the steel sleeve, press those out, and then this lower wishbone will be good to go. There we go, mission success. I've got those bushes out with minimal damage to the lower wishbone. A little bit annoying that the vice moves around so much. If anyone's got any, you know, clever ways that you can stop a vice moving around on a workbench, just let me know, because I don't know how to do it. Now it's going to be a case of fitting the poly bushes, which is going to be kind of challenging because these are this one is a one piece and it's got to go in there. So we'll figure something out with the vice. Start off, I'm thinking some silicone grease. Then I'm thinking a piece of wood to press the bushing kind of as flat as possible. And then, well, that's pretty much as far as the plan goes. It's just squash it in a vice now. And let's just watch this bushing slide straight in. It is not sliding in. It's not sliding in at all. How is this supposed to go in? Doesn't feel like this is going to yield any kind of success. So that plan didn't work. We'll see if maybe going in at a bit of an angle will work. I have this thing pressed in the vice about as far as I'm willing to press it, and my new plan is, because it just needs to get around this lip, I'm going to try and put a Jubilee clip around this, compress it, and see if that will help it slide in. What next? This is the setup we have arrived at. I'm testing currently. It seems to be working. You just have to believe me that this worked. Alright, that past one didn't work. We're bringing the bushing press tool back out. I'm feeling good about this though. Oh. What a dream. Right, that's the way to do it. I was starting to gravitate there. It was calling to me. The Machine Mark catalogue. I'm sure there's some hydraulic presses in here we could have had. But the miracle of the inclined plane has done us proud. If I'd done that initially, that wouldn't have been too bad of a job. All the others have been so much easier that I wasn't prepared for a fight there. So here's where we're up to. All those poly bushes are back in. The lower control arm is ready to go back on the car. When it goes back on the car, I can now fit the suspension as I've got this back, and then we can kind of rebuild and probably get that corner of the car back together and back on the ground. There we go. Lower control arm ready to go back in. Got the fresh alignment bolts as the update from the old ones. There we go. I'm surprised by how little movement this has. I would have thought with the suspension compressor this goes a long way, but then a lot of the movement seems to come from the bushing. So who knows? I'm aware that all of this is not really as interesting to watch as the welding was, but this is just the way the project goes. Most, if not all, of the welding is done. I'm just left with a few bits and pieces. So less interesting for you, but quite enjoyable for me because this might be finished at some point. I'm sceptical of this part because Mazda are usually pretty good with this kind of thing. But this bolt, a 5 is too small, a 6 is too big, 5.5 feels right. But I have not known Mazda to put weird size stuff on anything, so I'm suspicious. But we have a 5.5mm Allen key. So we'll use it. I should have been more suspicious. I don't think it's 5.5. I think it is a 6. It's just not. It's definitely not. It cannot be a 5.5. but it definitely is. But the 5.5 doesn't fit that well either. If it wasn't clear from the previous clips, I was substantially unhappy with the 5.5mm Allen key situation, which I still can't believe is right, but it seems to be. But what I've done, I've gone and I've cleaned up the nut, and it now runs all the way out the bolt, super smooth. So I'm hoping we might be able to get away without having to use an Allen key via the magic of impacts. So I'm hoping that it'll just pull the ball joint so tight it'll stop itself spinning. But we'll see. I can't believe Mazda would sell us down the river like this and make us use a 5.5mm Allen key that doesn't fit properly. Something must be wrong, but this will fix it, I think. Let's see. Okay, that's way better. So I was actually clamping it now. Before I could really easily move this. I'll get the torque wrench and see if we can do the right torque, 125 Newton meters, but we'll see if we can come close. I got this fun thing where every single time I use this, I forget how to set the torque on it. No. No. Okay. I remembered. There we go. Ooh. Bit like that. Watch the paintwork. Come on. This is a factory. This is a showroom condition car. Simple as that. What a thrilling piece of video history I'm creating here. Tightening up a bolt that you can't see. I can't see it. But we're in it together. When's it going to be tight? Right now. Click. Sorry, I'll do a better impression of the torque wrench. Beep. Perfect. So yeah, just stock brake pads. I've only managed to do 2 track days since I bought the car. Excellent value for money really when you think about it. I didn't have any issues with the stock brake pads, so they will be staying stock until I find a reason for them not to be. There we go, the wheels are back on, and this one is even pointing in roughly the right direction. We're going to have to pull it out and turn it round because, you know, with Big Green there's not much room to work here, but if I turn the car around it'll be over here and it'll be a lot better. So that's going to involve driving the car, which is exciting. I think it might be the first time in the series that the car has been started, so we'll do that. But now let's get an epic cold start of this 2-litre Duratec Mazda Ford beast of an engine. I would imagine this is going to be like starting, you know, a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. It's going to be something. This is going to be an interesting little test drive because I can't use the brakes because they're not bled. So I've got to use the handbrake. Let's see. We're not going far. Things are scraping. so that's going to be it for this episode. It's been so long, I don't know even what we did in this episode, but I imagine we did something. Next time we're going to be looking at this corner, so sorting out the suspension, the bushes, any rust that needs to be done. I'm not sure how big that repair will be. It will probably be a bigger break between, or maybe a normal size break nowadays, between this episode and that one, because I'm away for a few weekends and busy, so might not be able to get as much done as my usual strict weekly schedule. So, thanks for watching, thanks for your patience in waiting for this episode. I will see you next time. Cut to the fish.